Welcome to The Metal Voice. Today on the show, the one, the only, the legend, ex-guitarist of Judas Priest, KK Downing. What's going on, sir?
Hey, Jimmy, I thought I was going to burst through the curtains and play a show then. That was a great introduction. Thank you very much. Very kind of you.
All right. New book, September 18th, Heavy Duty, Days and Nights in Judas Priest, on Capo Books. Tell me why you wrote this book now.
Well, I guess I'd been asked continually, year after year, and sometime early last year I thought, do you know what? Now maybe the time is right, really, to document some stuff and have a good chat with some fans out there, and and see if I can answer some of their questions.
I read the book and I thought it was fantastic. By the way, it was direct. It was direct. There was really no mudslinging. I think that's what everybody kind of was anticipating. It was just an honest book of your account. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, straight from the heart. It is what it is. In the way that I remember it. Honestly and accurately.
Is there any plans for a UK book tour or a US book tour?
Potentially, definitely. I've already got a few dates in for the UK, and I guess what we're going to be doing really, and the publishers are just going to see what the demand is and tread the water. And obviously, if all goes well, then they'll probably put something in so I can hop across the pond and see some old friends and maybe some new faces.
Very, very cool. A lot of this book is about sort of, you're talking about sort of the relationship of you and Glenn. Can you just tell me about it, how the relationship sort of evolved or dissolved, we could say, over the years? And I mean, I know you don't want to give away everything in the book, but just quickly talk about how that relationship was built and how it moved and where it is until you left Priest.
Yeah, well, obviously we came together all of those decades away, and in a new, unique type of fashion and format, and I think that obviously, inevitably, there always was a great amount of mutual respect for each other, and still is, and certainly from my part, there's no doubt about that. You spent, I think we would spend more time together, myself and Glenn, than we did with any girlfriends or wives or anything, I mean, we did become that married couple.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, but it was good. We were very productive, very prolific, and I think obviously we were the driving force really in a lot of ways, because we had to create the songs, to be sung.
Yeah.
And so it was an awful lot of amount of work and time spent together. I think, was there some competitive rivalry? Not really on my behalf, really. I always felt I was fairly easygoing, and that's it, because the most important thing to me was the band, the name Judas Priest, really, because I think we've seen a lot more of it now, Jimmy, where we see bands and certain members, original members, are not there anymore for different reasons, and but the legacy still carries on, and the name, I believe Priest actually played in Montreal a few days ago.
Yes, they
Am I
did.
right
Yes,
in
they
saying
did.
that?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, well, like I say, Ian's still there. He was with me back in the late 60s, and Rob came on a few years later. But there's no doubt the show goes on, the name goes on, and I'm sure it's great, because the fans like me, and I'm a fan, I mean, if I get a chance to see, anybody, whether it's whether it's Deep Purple, whether it's Budgie, whether it's whoever it is, UFO, you name it, I go back, and that's the people I grew up with, and those are the songs. So if I see the name in lights, and I know I'm going to go along and hopefully see as many original members as I can. But if that's well diminished, I know I'm still going to get a great show and listen to great songs.
Mm-hmm.
And but like I say, myself and Glenn, we went through the decades together, through thick and thin, and it was a great relationship, like I say. But idiosyncrasies creep in, don't they? I'm sure Glenn would, just like any couple, like any old married couple, well, we all meet people, don't we? And who doesn't go into their parents and she goes, hey, he's been at it again, he's been doing this and this as well. What about her? She's been spending the credit card, and you get all of that. So that can happen, and but at some point, it boils over a little bit and something has to give, and that's it really. People do things, how they like to do them in certain ways, but it's tough, like I say, in any relationship, you have to really work at it, and I felt that I did.
I know in the book you sort of mentioned that the I don't know if this is accurate or not, but you were doing less and less solos, or did you feel like they were kind of dictating to you that you can't do solos anymore? What happened there? Maybe I read it wrong.
No, I don't know. Maybe, like I said before, I was just a bit too easygoing, and my inspiration was to make the band big, not myself big, and it just came, the awareness really that, we might divide the solos up at the end of the recordings, and I would have 10 and Glenn would have 10, but maybe mine were 10, 15-second solos, but Glenn's were a lot longer, and it went on a bit like that really, and I kind of let that slip a little bit is what I think, but the albums were still great, the songs were great, and the solos, were great. It was good, but, I was probably a little bit more easygoing because, I think all the listeners will know. I mean, you try to get 5 people to form a relationship and a band together. Inevitably, without you knowing it, some kind of pecking order starts to formulate, and and there's always going to be some people aspire to, their egos kind of, there's always something that happens. I mean, that's why so many great bands didn't last that long, because things get in the way, because, the way that it is. But I always tried to keep us absolutely as democratic and everything, a level playing field, absolutely as much as possible, And like I said, I have great respect for all of my bandmates right now, today, whatever happens, because of, we had great success and a great legacy is there, but like I just was listening a couple of days ago to Steve Perry talking, after such a long time, and about, his situation, and it can happen, but I did well, we all did well, and the guys are still doing well. So good luck and congratulations.
Yeah.
As long as it can go on, really, it's in everyone's interest that Judas Priest, continues. Really, if ever, if possible.
What do you say? And I was kind of shocked the other day with Ian Hill's statement, and you could answer this or not. He comes out and says, well, so Glenn sort of, sadly, Parkinson's disease, it's terrible. And, why weren't you invited back to replace Glenn? To me, it's shocking. I think it's disrespectful. I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. And Ian Hill's sort of response was, well, it's not his parts. I don't know.
No, I didn't understand that. That was really weird, because obviously, Richie plays both my parts and Glenn's parts, and it would be, and I'm sure Richie would be the first one to go, well, KK, have your place back, you do your thing, and I'll continue playing, Glenn's, and or we can share Glenn. You know, we can do whatever we want, bits and pieces. You know, I mean, there's a way to work everything out, but it was never going to be a case that I would step into Glenn and play Glenn's part. You know, and no, that was crazy. And I think the fans quite quickly assessed that. So I don't have an understanding of what Ian was saying then at all, really. To be fair.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about. Are you still a shareholder in the Judas Priest? I guess corporation. Do you still sit
yes,
down?
I am.
Are you still a stakeholder?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I'm still an equal share with Rob, Ian,
Okay.
and Glenn. You know, and I can't say not particularly active. Well, you know, not saying that's by choice either, but that's the way it goes when you kind of not in the circle. You're you know, it's hard to get back in. Yeah, I call myself the sleeping partner, I suppose. Sleep through everything.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. Okay, Iron Maiden, and I found this another fascinating part. You know, you're on tour with them in their first album, on Killers, and even Number the Beast, I guess, when Bruce Dickinson came along. But Paul Di'Anno, you kind of like, and I know, and I get it. Today, there's no sour, you know, feelings towards them. I get that. But back then, you were feeling kind of like, why are we taking these guys on tour? Can you talk about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, the guys did their first UK tour with us, and they did their first American tour with us, but I don't know, it's just probably their way, you know, but just there was unsettlement in the camp, and it was, well, you know, the first time we ever set sail for America, Canada, you know, the big world, you know, on the other side of the pond, the managers, everybody said to us, when you go, don't expect anything because you ain't damn well going to get nothing, you know. So don't expect, you know, a dressing room, you know, if you get one, you're lucky. If you get some beers, you're lucky. If you get stage monitors, you're lucky. If you get lights, you're like, don't expect it because that's the way it is. Anything that you do get is going to be a bonus, so be grateful of it. And we went out and we did big tours with, you know, I mean, we played with... in the first tour, Led Zeppelin, Alice Cooper, Oreo, Foghat, Kiss, you know, did a lot of big tours, and that's the way that it was, you know, and but I think when the guys went out there with us, they thought it was, you know, I don't know what they thought really, to be fair, but, you know, it was a kind of, you know, we want this and we're supposed to have this, it's in the contract and that. And often we, as a headliner, didn't get what we were supposed to have. Yeah. I think a lot of musicians out there listening, if they're listening, they will understand that. You know, you sign a contract with some promoter or some guy, whether it's in a pub, club, theatre, arena, you name it, you know, they say, oh yeah, man, our stage is this big and we've got, you know, the ceiling's that high, but it never is when you get there. And our life was always like that, you know. But I guess to the guys, it was all new to them, and they, you know. So one night they ended up building a stage on top of the stage, you know, just to. So it was all a bit weird, but like I say, they were out there to overthrow the mighty priest, I guess, if that was in the agenda. And but as I say, you know, a lot of water's gone under the bridge now, and. It is what it is. I'm sure that we. Well, I'd like to think that they would, you know, be the first to buy me a drink. You know. After,
yeah, absolutely.
It's a pretty good leg up for a band, you know, because other bands that opened up for us, you know, from Accept, Def Leppard, Scorpions, you know, the bill is big. You know, all the bands went on to do well, and so did Iron Maiden, and all credit to those guys. Yeah, eventually. They created unique music, you know, unique sound, unique look, unique performance, and I'm sure that we're all glad that Iron Maiden were a part and still are a part of the great music and genre of music that we know and love so well.
And just as a note, I spoke to Paul Di'Anno on the phone the other day, and I asked him about it, and he goes, say hi to Kenny,
Yeah.
And he loves you guys. He loves Judas Priest.
Yeah, and I got to like Paul an awful lot, really, because I think, wow, when was it, mid-80s or something? I think we were out there with Bon Jovi supporting. Paul, yeah, no, I think he was then turned up in the hotel room, and he did. He said, Kenny, I really apologise about, that, and he apologised about something he said in the newspapers, and that was it. That's all you need sometimes, is just a bit of acknowledgement. And so, but Paul's a good guy. I understand people are young and they get, all that invigoration and just want to go out there and conquer the world. And I think I understand it better now than I did at the time, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, he said we were just confident, that's all. We were just super confident in ourselves. And I guess that's what it was all about. Tell me about opening up for Kiss. Did you get along with I'm talking about 1979, opening up for Kiss. Did you get along with Ace, Paul, Peter, and Gene?
Yes, I would say those guys, really good, really enjoyed that tour. The guys are very good to us, and ever since, really. Gene in particular, we'll come to pre-shows and hang out, and, very, very fond memories. Got some photographs somewhere with us, with the guys on that tour, and it was a great, you can imagine for us going back then, 77, 78, all of that was a big, big learning curve for Judas Priest, those touring those arenas. Fantastic.
Yeah. And what about, you spent a few pages on the Ripper years, right? Tim Ripper Owens. Yep. I mean, the guy didn't get a fair shake because the whole market back then wasn't really heavy metal. I mean, it's sort of like the great singer, a phenomenal singer. We've interviewed him many times before. Do you think he didn't get his fair shake in Priest? I mean,
he did a fantastic job. What an incredible guy! He's a lovely guy, incredible singer. I mean, he's great. And we give it a good. Fair crack of the whip is what I think, but and I think I have to spin this story as the fact that through my life and my career, I'll give you an example. We would come off stage playing a fantastic gig, and Ripper was totally killed it, but you'd still get fans out backstage saying, "Hey, KK, when's Rob coming back?" And stuff like that, and that kind of was the theme throughout, and I guess the thing is that, correct me if I'm wrong, and listeners as well out there, it's isn't it, apart from the odd exception here and there, one or two I could think of, probably Van Halen and AC/DC for different reasons, but for the the comment I'm trying to make is the fact that it's one voice to one band, like Mick Jagger, the Stones, Freddie Mercury, Queen, Bruce, Maiden, Joe Elliott, Leopard. So it's kind of a familiar thing, and that's what the fans kind of adhere to. And I'm kind of a bit the same myself, really, because even with Van Halen, I first saw Van Halen when they came to the UK supporting Black Sabbath, and I was kind of blown away. The whole thing was fresh, it was exciting, but Dave played his part, and you never get a second chance to make a first impression, but those first impressions were kind of stuck with me, really, on those early albums, and I always thought that as great as Sammy is, but Dave was kind of, when I think of Van Halen, I think of Dave's voice and his performance, really. Probably because I saw that band more than I did, with Sammy as well. But for the main part, I think it's true to say that Priest had such a legacy, so many songs with Rob singing on them, that I think there was always a requirement for the fans to have Rob back and hear him sing them again,
Yeah. Another question is, Priest is coming out with 2 albums since you left. Do you look back now and say, you know what, they're still going strong, man, I regret leaving. Any regrets of leaving Priest?
No, no, because it had kind of run its course as it was, you know. Myself and Glenn, even though we were very much a partnership, we would do things differently on stage. You know, Glenn was a bit more rock and roll, you know, have some beers and whatever, you know, and I was there totally, you know, totally attentive and wanting perfection, yeah, every note, every beat and stuff. You know, so Glenn was a bit more rock and roll. So we kind of drifted apart a little bit that way, really. You know, not to say who's right and who's wrong. You know, we're supposed to all get on there and enjoy what we were doing, but, you know, I wasn't enjoying it as much as I felt I should, really. I felt, you know, maybe I'm just a bit the nervy type, you know, just don't like things, you know, like to give 100%, because I think that's what the fans travel for, pay for, and expect, really.
Do you feel like sometimes, and a lot of people feel this way, you know, anytime they're in a relationship, that, man, I should have said something earlier because it would have changed the tone of you know, that relationship?
Yeah, it's and I did. Yeah, I did, you know, not in a cool, calm, collective way as well, you know, so, but didn't really have the desired effect, you know, and, you know, I'm not a person that wants to oppress, you know, or to make my assertions on how people should feel that they should, you know, and what they should do in respect of their, you know, performance and presentation and playing and that, you know, because everybody does it different. I've seen it, you know, and it can work both ways, but it just has to, you know, so, but just didn't suit me, so a change had to happen, and that was it, really, you know, that was the mainstay. But I think when I look back and collectively, and that's what happened, there was kind of a lot of things that tipped the edge, really. I mean, the management, and they wanted me to do an EP, and I didn't want to do that, you know. Rob, in the 12 months before I left, he did he released 2 studio albums and did his own tour, you know, and so the EP thing certainly didn't go down well with me. Judas Priest was never an EP band. I'm glad the guys saw sense that it was not a good idea, really. So they went and did an album, which I think was the right thing to do. I'm sure that they do, you know. Yeah. But it's just that set of circumstances. It's just like the Titanic, really. Yeah. No particular one reason. It was just accumulation of things.
Quickly, before we're out of time, your favorite guitar solo you've played in Judas Priest?
That's a good one. I mean, lots of people out there that know me, I go out there and, you know, if it's Victim and Changes or Sinner or something, or quite a lot of my solos, I just ad-lib, improvise there on the spot. Those are the ones I like best. And I did quite a lot of that on the record as well when I was laying the tracks down, you know, but some pretty nifty stuff. I like Before the Dawn solo, it's simple and as melodic as it is and short and sweet. I like that, but I also like, you know, Blood Red Skies, Hammer and the Anvil, you know, Rock Hard Ride Free, tons of stuff like that, really. But I like a lot of stuff that I did on Nostradamus also, yeah, the list goes on, really.
I guess it can go on forever. And I guess, are you planning any musical projects in the near future?
No, I've been approached an awful lot to do an awful lot of things. I have done some favours. Les Binks just asked me to re-record Beyond the Realms of Death, which I did that, you know, with Paul Crook. He's a very good player, you know, from Meatloaf and some other bands. You know, so I'm always trying to help some younger bands do things, and obviously run my website, which is kind of a big fanzine run by fans, kkdowning.net, at the steel mill there. Very proud of that website. And but I guess for now I've just relocated, and I'm setting up my music room. In fact, I was working on it through the night last night to, you know, get ready for the winter here in the UK, cold and dark winter. I'll lock myself away and see what comes out at the end of spring, really. I'm not overly keen on starting all over again, but, you know, to play with some of these fine musicians on a good friendly basis would be quite a treat. So I'll see where health and wealth takes me, really, my destination and fan demand. And like I say, by next spring I'll probably have a better insight as to what the future might hold.
Well, it was wonderful speaking with you. That's Heavy Duty Days and Nights and Judas Priest. September 18th, everybody go pick it up. It's a great read. I didn't want to give away too much in the book. I want everybody to, you know, pick it up and just be hungry to read it. Thank you for being a guest, KK.
Okay, Jimmy, and many thanks to you, and obviously thanks to all the fans over there in Montreal and big beautiful country of Canada, and take care of things, you guys, until I see you next time.